Okay, so Sun Neptune natal aspects, the sequel. So as we grow and we become more solid in understanding who we are, what we want, there's more allowance for others to also be who they are or to have the kind of expression that they need, because we aren't caught in so much sensitivity. The boundary of the identity, that can become known. Who we are can become known as we become more able to allow those authentic qualities to emerge. It's very hard to allow that to happen before we've healed or before we've really come into our own or discovered more who we are. It's very, very difficult to find the real self, to feel the real self, to recognize our authentic self. We don't know who we are with these aspects. And so we get to discover that as we peel back the layers, as we heal, as we become more brave to do what comes natural. That's the real self. That's the authentic self. That's who you really are. What you do without thinking, how you move without caring about the consequence, how you dance when nobody's watching, or if they are and you don't even notice. It's not about them. It's about moving in the way that's all about you. It's a natural way of being. And it doesn't take any energy. We're always exhausted with Sun Neptune aspects. Mars Neptune too. We're always exhausted, depleted. And we are also exhausting. And we can be depleting before we've healed. Because there is a dependency, a sensitivity, and a neediness that accompanies these aspects. And it can be easier for some of us to develop more of a boundary or an exterior or a toughness, depending on if we have other aspects coming in. But even if we do, it could actually make this, difficult aspects that could make this even more difficult. You have to look at everything with these. It can be wholly more easy for someone to come into their own and to work through their ghostly issues of self. It can be so much easier for some people, and other people can wrestle for a lifetime with these aspects. It is a very spiritual journey, self-discovery with Sun Neptune aspects. Because that's what the identity is disconnected from, or is trying to usurp. And it needs to embrace it and work with it and align with the divine. The identity wants to impersonate it before it really aligns with it and gives in to higher guidance, right? It's just performative until we really, really sacrifice. We have a lot of authenticity problems, but we may sell ourselves as the one that is the most transcendent. We might even believe that. But when we really do transcend, then we really get it. We'll look back and we're like, oh, okay. I thought I was clear. I thought I was right about that, but it turns out, turns out we can have really, really eye-opening epiphanies and spiritual experiences that absolutely stretch the boundaries of the previous state of the ego for real. For real. When we get real. A lot of people don't with Sun Neptune or other hard Neptune aspects. They don't get real because the possibility of erring on the negative side of Neptune, which looks real, is so common. It's much more common than actually doing the hard work. Neptune is sleep. It's relaxation. It is letting go. It doesn't do the hard work. And so the sun is an escapist shapeshifter when an aspect to Neptune. Until we come to that realistic, authentic core. But the carrot has to be peeled back. You have to get to the core of the carrot with Sun Neptune. It takes a while to shave it down. And you'll know when you're real when you act without forethought, stress, a worry about what is going to be the reception. Because it's not worth selling yourself out or short or lying or doing anything to not get to be yourself after you get a real taste of how free it makes you. So we can live without lag when we really, really heal. We can live without that drag of worry. We're always followed with this feeling before we've healed with Sun Neptune aspects. This feeling, this needling feeling. We always live with it. We feel like we are just about to be found out. And it's like this baseline of fear of the closet door being flung open. It could happen at any moment. Because before we've healed, we know we're bullshit with Sun Neptune aspects, Sun Pluto, Mars Pluto, Mars Neptune, certain combinations where we're not being straight. And that's our defense. Because if the false self is rejected, yeah, we can survive that. It wasn't really us anyway. But if our real self is rejected, we may not survive that. That's why we lie. So we have to become real. Sun Neptune aspects is the proverbial Pinocchio journey. You can't take the easy way out by performing. And try it on the next identity and seeing how that works. Because we can be a chameleon when we're unhealed with these hard aspects. And it makes us feel ashamed even more. So we have to come out of hiding when we connect with our heart. You start to really dance and start to show up in a way that feels good, that's in alignment with what brings you pride, and not the false sense of pride where you're getting the applause for doing what you think people want to do, so you get the applause. Not that kind of pride. That's not pride. That's performance. The pride that comes from being filled with integrity and putting on your show and dancing your dance that feels good to you because it's natural to you. And if other people don't want to come to your show, it's not for them. But you will attract the people that are genuinely in alignment with what you've got going on. And it won't be everybody. See, before it was everybody. I'm kind of an attention whore before we figure out these aspects. And then it's about quality over quantity when we stop performing for pennies and we just do it for free. You just do it for free because it feels free. What'd you get out of it before? Some kind of payoff, didn't ya? Didn't ya? The payoff is that we want to live with ourselves and look at ourselves. We can look at ourselves when we dance our real dance. You can't look at yourself in the mirror before you do, and that's why you want a lot of plastic surgery with these aspects, particularly if Neptune's also an aspect to the midheaven. In conjunction to the midheaven is the worst. And it also in a hard aspect to the sun. You see a lot of reaching for outside masks and affirmation that come from changing ourselves physically, so we can even show up in a way where we get more of the kind of attention that we think we want. But it's think. That's identity stuff. We think we want it. With Sun Neptune stuff, you better be careful what you wish for. Because the kind of attention that you want, that you think you want, is often in service to our trauma and our shame. And it actually brings us more shame. It's not the kind of attention that we really wanted, because it wasn't in service to who we really were. It was in service to the weak chameleon, shortcut part of ourself that can't take criticism. So we toughen up when we get real. We get real tough. You know, we're sensitive as hell before we get real with Sun Neptune stuff. That's why all the eggshell walking is going on. But when we figure out who we are, we appreciate that, we love that, we're not afraid of it anymore. It's not a threat to the false self. There's no reason to be oversensitive because we're not suffering. There's nothing to hide, there's nothing to defend. That's what it is the defense. Just kind of melts away. We allow truth in, or we just couldn't before because it was too painful. And we become a truth-seeking performer of our own authentic story. And we can feel what's real when we heal with Sun Neptune stuff. These things will make you psychic. When you heal from Sun Pluto, Sun Neptune, Sun Uranus, there's certain combinations that will make your perceptions and what you're sensitive to, your interpretation of omens and signs, very sharp. Where it was dulled before, or just completely full of shit, or in service to some kind of belief or organization that served your need to see the world in a way that protected you from your true self. With Sun Neptune contacts, hard contacts, we also need to consider, is our religion making us sick? Because it might be. There are a lot of people with unhealed Sun Neptune aspects that belong to a religion or an organization or a spiritual, some group, typically religion, that requires them to be something that they aren't, or requires them to, live out a certain lifestyle or choices that they would not make if they didn't belong to that particular group, and if they were being their full, authentic, true self. And we cannot realize that what we think is saving us and what we've baptized ourselves into might be exactly what is making us sick, because it's causing a self-abandonment. We can't be ourselves in order to be in that religion. And some people, they can be in that position for years and then they cannot realize, why am I suddenly sick? Because it's not for you. You have to cut yourself off for parts of yourself that are natural to you in order to be accepted or fit in or feel saved. God don't make no mistakes. My brother used to have a shirt that said that in the 80s. He wore it until it was in tatters. And the Superman shirt. We used to have to take that one off of him while he was sleeping just so we could wash it. We can develop into a Superman, a superwoman with Sun Neptune aspects. For real. We impersonate it before we come into our own. We might even convince ourselves that we're something we're not. If it doesn't feel good, it isn't good. It's not the devil telling you that either. We can believe that with Sun Neptune stuff. If we belong to a religion or a course of belief that doesn't allow us to be ourselves, we can believe that our own natural impulses are evil. Or if we do something that our natural expression just urged us to do, we can think that the devil made me do it. It was your own shadow side. It will show up as the devil if you don't integrate it and accept it. Allow for it and figure it into your identity. Because you're more than just a saint. You're also a sinner. Come on. Come on. That's what makes you interesting. That's what makes you relatable. If your whole identity is that of a Korean saint, sacrificial, good, never make any mistakes, I'm nice, where's the interesting stuff? You're convinced. If you can't allow the dark in, you're convinced that you should be fractured. And maybe if the dark comes in, yeah, the light that you project won't be so glorious because it will dim a little bit. Because, life is not black and white. It comes in shades of gray. So do you. So do I. You have to forgive yourself for that. With these difficult aspects, you can't be all good all the time. I know you want to be. But don't be fucking ridiculous. Be real. That's what we want to see. That's what everybody wants to see. Because we can trust you. We can't trust people who aren't authentic, who haven't come into their own, because they might say whatever. So they can avoid shame. So they can avoid being seen a certain way they don't want to be seen. Can't trust them. You can forgive them. Most people are doing some of that to some degree. Some of us a lot to the umpteenth degree. It's hard to be raw and real and open in all times, in all places, all the time. But the more brave and self-accepting you become, the more you will be exactly who you are, whenever, and in all circumstances. There are people and places that can bring out different things and aspects and sides of us. Absolutely. But our core self, our core authenticity, and we can have our moods and our sides. That's what's present. That's what's known. That's what's real. That's what you can depend on. That's who's in there. Oh, wind dial. What a good comment. Wind dial says, since embracing myself, I've learned to have a crazy good eye for spotting the fakes. Exactly, dear. You can't see them before. You can't. You can't see who's real and who's fake before you become real. You can't recognize it. That's why the more you come into your authenticity and into enlightenment, you can spot, you can recognize enlightenment. You can see it. And you recognize darkness. You recognize it, you can see it. Before we heal, we usually just see the shadows that we cast. You can't see out of our trauma. You can't channel. You can't be truly clairvoyant. You can't see where things are going when you're just looking out through your trauma. You're only preventing more trauma and seeing things in a way that's in service to that. Self-protection. It keeps out the truth and what's current. Because if you're interpreting what's current, that's a danger to your stories. That's a danger to the ego. If you are not reinforcing what your identity needs to be reinforced about people and others in the world, if you're not doing that, your ego is in danger of falling apart or loosening its grip. So we may be delusional forever about who we are with Sun Neptune aspects. We may be. Some people do not make much progress with these. And some people absolutely transcend the boundaries of suffering. And only if you really healed from these and you're really real can you truly see and know and recognize the difference between the two. You can only know others and accept them to the degree that you know and accept yourself. That's the ceiling. We can't interpret or understand others in a level that's above our capability. Can't see others better than we see ourselves. When you learn about yourself, that automatically translates to learning about others. So we can have a blessed life with these aspects. We can. We don't have to be lonely. We usually are before we've healed. We don't feel seen. We don't feel known. We can feel invisible. And when we come into our realness and recognize ourselves and recognize the Creator, and get on board with what Neptune is really asking of us, which is rest. Don't take the easy way out. That's false Neptune. Just rest. You don't have to think yourself up anymore. It takes a lot of energy. It can be really painful. Just rest. It doesn't take anything to be real. You just have to listen, act on impulse, do what feels good. You'll always keep yourself out of trouble. You'll never respond to the devil energies within yourself. You won't do what they demand if you only do what feels good. And that means that sometimes you might have to leave some situations that you think are good. But when you really examine it, what's it doing to you? How do you feel? It may not be so good. It's okay to leave. It's okay. You can leave that religion if it hurts you. You can leave that marriage if it hurts to be there. You don't have to be in contact with that parent or that sibling if it's just nothing but dread. We have to listen to what feels good and remove ourselves from poisons that are hard to recognize with Sun Neptune. It's hard. And in sometimes in life you have to pick your poison. This is another hard lesson. Sometimes there is no choice that doesn't suck. Sometimes there won't be an option that makes our heart sing. We just recognize it as the one that sucks the least. So give up the ghost. Because it's made of lead. It is. The ghostly self is just made of lead. It makes you so tired carrying it around. Just act naturally for a day. See what it's like, even just a few minutes. Even if nobody's looking, just practice. Practice. What's it like to just act without consequence? Without an agenda or without an idea of what kind of specific outcome do you want? How would you walk if you didn't care about being judged? How would you sing if we were just being so open and natural and spontaneous? What would that sound like? That fake bravado you always attach onto the end there that everybody knows is, trying too hard. Would that still be there? Or would you discover your natural waver? Or maybe none at all. Maybe I don't even have one. You'll never know if you don't stop trying. That's the saying, you'll never know if you don't try. Well, not for Sun Neptune. You'll never know if you don't stop trying and just start being. getting with the flow, listening to what feels good. You'll never violate yourself again. It's impossible. You'll never sin again. We sin against ourselves first with Sun Neptune stuff. It's a sin to violate your own self for any reason. If you're in a marriage, a religion, a job, a relationship, a condition, you have to abandon yourself or violate yourself to be there. You are sinning. And you're probably telling yourself that you're being good. You're doing the right thing, but it's killing you. It'll kill your soul. Well, can't do that. It'll divorce you from your soul. And that's when you don't have the guidance anymore. That's when you have to reach out to snake oil salesmen, religions, other people, sometimes anybody, to fill in that gap that only the divine was ever meant to fill. So be good and listen to the inklings of your soul. What feels good to your heart. That's what it is to be righteous. Yeah. To be righteous is not to be pious. To be a righteous man or a righteous woman is to listen to the instructions of your heart and your soul. Even if it takes you into places that you never thought you would ever go. Even if it challenges your mind. Sometimes that's the point. That's how we will get the lesson. It looks one way because we live in a world where there's an appearance of things. But if we feel into it, and if we have really good discernment, we can see what it really is. We can feel what it really is. Something that we think is there to save us, we can recognize as a test. It's a test in your faith, in yourself. You think they heard a rat under the house. Oh my. Well, may we all extinguish the rats under our house with Sun Neptune aspects. And have nothing to hide. Come into your divinity, your wholeness, self-respect, honesty. And have the life that you deserve. Because at the heart of these is a belief in not being good enough, being a fallen man or fallen woman, sinner. course you are. Of course. But you'll sin less and less when you really accept that and make friends with it. It's part of the process. We have to make mistakes, so there's no possibility of learning. No possibility at all. It's like being told something as opposed to doing it. Now, you can read all kinds of books about horseback riding. It's not till you do it that you actually learn it. That's the value of mistakes. They're to be embraced. We don't think we should or do make mistakes with Sun Pluto stuff. I'm sorry, Sun Neptune, before we heal. It's part of how the identity disguises itself. I'm so ashamed to be wrong. But just realize it's part of the cosmic joke. When you really get it, you really get it, you really get it. You understand why the Buddha's just laughing. It's a cosmic joke. With Sun Neptune, we take ourselves entirely too seriously until we don't. And that's when life gets fun. You stop crying. And the sins of, the tears of sinners, and start laughing like the saints. Oh gosh, guys, I gotta get going. I know you've made a lot of comments that I would love to get to, but I just don't have time this evening. We may revisit this in the future. Oh, somebody's got Sun conjunct to Jupiter. Yeah, there's nothing to complain about that one. Well, other than our appetites. Yeah, Sun-Jupiter aspects are just wholly hilarious. Oh God, a few years ago, I was watching a YouTube video. I said to somebody, that guy has got his Sun in conjunct to Jupiter. She looked it up. Wouldn't you know? Exact in conjunction. Those Sun-Jupiter aspects, especially the in conjunction, are so easy to spot because the sense of humor is decidedly wet. I mean, we've heard of the dry sense of humor. This is like the tsunami sense of humor. It is so much fun. So much fun. I love the irreverence of Sun-Jupiter people. All righty, guys. I'm going to have to get going for now. It was so good to get to spend time with you. And I will see you when I get to see you.